Coast History and Haunts. Today's episode takes us to Erie Street Cemetery in Cleveland, Ohio. We're at the site of Cleveland's oldest cemetery. And in fact, this cemetery is directly across East 9th. On the other side is the baseball stadium where the Cleveland Guardians play, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians. So today's story, we're going to talk a little bit about Cleveland, we're going to talk about cemeteries, we're going to talk about Native Americans, and a curse that's said to haunt Cleveland to this day. A lot of people are buried here, and we're going to talk about some of these stories. Come on, let's take a look. Hello, welcome to another edition of North Coast History and Haunts. We're in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, and we're at the site of Erie Street Cemetery. Erie Street Cemetery is Cleveland's oldest cemetery. In fact, a lot of the early settlers of Cleveland are buried here. This is a huge cemetery and it's right downtown. It's kind of unusual that you would have a cemetery in the middle of a big metropolis city. But we're here to focus on one grave, and we're standing in the grave of Chief Joc-O-Sot. Chief Joc-O-Sot was a Native American. He was born in Iowa in 1810. His tribe fought against the United States in the Black Hawk War. Chief Joc-O-Sot would have become known as Walking Bear. During the war, his tribe was decimated. They lost everything. They lost their land, they lost their rights. The United States ran right through them. Despite being gravely wounded in the war, Chief Joc-O-Sot fought very bravely. In fact, he sustained a wound that would ultimately take his life. But before then, he came east to Cleveland, Ohio. To support his tribe, he was going to somehow find a way to make money and send it back to the tribe. He needed to do this. He was a leader of the tribe. However, when he got to Cleveland, he made friends with a man who put him in touch with a guy who had a theater troupe. And so Chief Joc-O-Sot joined this theater troupe, and he joined it as a representative of the Native Americans. And part of this theater troupe, he had elaborate costumes, and they put on a display, ultimately, in essence, showing what Native American life was like. They toured the United States and instantly became successful. They were so successful, they took their act to Europe, where he performed in front of Queen Victoria and a lot of other dignitaries. During this time in Europe, though, he came down with what was known as quick consumption, or tuberculosis. And during that time around the world, tuberculosis was a brutal disease. There was really no known cure for it. And he became so sick, he quit the tour and he came back to the United States. When he landed in Washington, D.C., and he was trying to make his way back home. However, he was on foot, and he walked all the way to Buffalo, New York. When he got to Buffalo, he knew how sick he was. So he took a boat, and he was going to take that boat as far as he could. Well, the boat took him back to Cleveland, Ohio. And he was so gravely ill, he knew it was time his up. And what he said was, Chief Joc-O-Sot, go up. He knew he was dying. Chief Joc-O-Sot's final wish was to have his body returned to his native land. However, this didn't happen. His friends here in Cleveland had a ceremony for him, and ultimately his body was buried here at Erie Street Cemetery. However, this is where the story gets a little strange. A lot of people think that because he was so upset that his body was never returned, that he walks these grounds, and you can see him if you take pictures. However, some people also think that he, Joc-O-Sot, shattered his grave, and if you look at his tombstone, it's shattered into a bunch of pieces. Modern day records kind of tell us that there was an incident with a tree trimmer. It fell and it cracked this. They tried to repair it, however, it fell into disrepair again. This was a lot of years ago. Chief Joc-O-Sot, or Walking Bear as he was known, ultimately in 1844 is when he passed away. So this tombstone has been degraded over time. Other people found out about the legend of Chief Joc-O-Sot. In fact, Chief Niagara, who's buried right here, proclaimed that because Chief Joc-O-Sot's body was never returned, a catastrophe would fall upon Cleveland. Well, some people think a catastrophe did fall upon Cleveland, and in fact, it's the Cleveland sports team that this tragedy befell. The Cleveland Indians were the recipient of this curse, and in an unusual twist of fate, the Cleveland Indians now play directly behind us in what was known as Progressive Field. Some people think that Chief Joc-O-Sot's curse curses what is now known as the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians. Some people think that because of this name change took place, that the curse is lifted, and now the Guardians can go ahead and win as many championships as they can. That remains to be seen. However, some people still think that Chief Joc-O-Sot curses all of Cleveland, and you can see him haunting these grounds at night. Another memorial marker was placed here in 1944, kind of detailing Chief Joc-O-Sot's life. It's an interesting case. A lot of things are known about Chief Joc-O-Sot, but a lot of things aren't known about Chief Joc-O-Sot. If you'd like to come to visit his grave, you can. It's Erie Street Cemetery. It's right in downtown Cleveland, and it's right across from where the Cleveland Guardians play baseball. Come and visit the site today, and then you can find out for yourself if the curse of Chief Joc-O-Sot is really true. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye.